allowing another country to attack us, isn't that treason?
I'm from Missouri, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Secretary, I don't trust your judgment. You made the comment to my colleague that there's no daylight between you and the president, which calls into question your role. And again, any time that you disagree with the president on this war or anything in general.
I would never betray conversations that we've had.
Okay,
The commander
so you can't
in chief
even
deserves candid
acknowledge that
discussion
you've ever
in private.
even disagreed with the man, like his choice of tie, that dance, anything. You haven't disagreed on anything.
I've never relayed the discussions I have with the commander in chief.
Okay, because it seems to me that rather than being Trump's Secretary of Defense, that sounds like you're just being Trump's secretary. And we need someone who's going to be there that is actually advising, that is also pushing back when necessary and serving the country as opposed to the president. So you said you've never called him out privately or publicly, because we know that hasn't done. But have you ever said the words, and you don't have to tell me what it was about, have you ever said the words, Mr. President, I disagree with you?
As I said, I don't relay the private conversations that a commander in chief deserves.
You can't even acknowledge that, like if you've just said, Mr. President, you're wrong about this or you're wrong about that. You can't even acknowledge, you can't even admit that, if that's happened.
You can ask it again if you want, but I don't relay the private conversations that a commander in chief deserves.
The objectives of this war have constantly shifted and changed. You see that though, right? Like you can acknowledge that, because 1 minute it was to dismantle the Iranian nuclear program. But how, I don't know how that objective has not now been the listed objectives as far as I understand. Then there was regime change. Trump even said when announcing the start of the war, the hour of your freedom is at hand. It's yours to take. He also posted on Truth Social in January, help is on the way, to the Iranians posting in the street. Do you still believe in this particular objective?
The objectives have been clear from the beginning, and I've supported the president throughout in having the courage to take on this threat.
Okay, so then let's talk about what else has he said. So let's talk about the Trump doctrine. So on November 6th, the president said he was all about ending wars, not starting new ones. Yet in the so-called doctrine, the conflict has not answered why we're in the war. The objectives have changed. We're not sure about the exit strategy. This, to me, is the definition of open-ended or forever war. And you cannot claim to end forever wars while engaging in one. And then here's the one that really gets me. So I don't know when it's over when I feel it in my bones. So, Mr. Secretary, war decisions should be based on defined military objectives. You agree with that statement, correct?
It's the commander in chief makes the call on behalf of the American people when our objectives are completed.
There should be clearly defined military objectives. That's safe to say?
Yeah, it's not military strategy. It's not how you define your goal, things like that. None of those things are applicable to Donald Trump, his mind. So Pete Hegseth, he doesn't want to lose his job. If he says anything that goes against Donald Trump's ego, he will be fired immediately.
Okay.
Ultimately, the commander in chief makes the decision about when our objectives are achieved.
Okay, because because I'm just trying to figure out like what kind of analysis, evaluation are we looking at with objectives when it's just what the president feels in his bones? Like, are we talking about like some Da Vinci Petruvian man or what? Like, what are we talking about when we just talk about feeling it in your bones? Because my thing is, we're not set up here to trust anyone's judgment. We're here to represent our districts and the American people. And so my next question is, the problem that I'm concerned with is that Iran continues to increase their negotiating leverage with us. And so we've been told that we've won this war, it'll be over in a few days, but now they didn't control the Strait of Hormuz, and now they do have leverage in the Strait of Hormuz. I remember even in the strikes in June, after the strikes in June, I should say, they struck Al-Udeid, and we never responded to that. As a matter of fact, Trump even said he knew that strike was coming and he allowed it. Do you agree with that?
Ultimately, the president's been clear about his objectives, and if Iran thinks they're going to outdeal the best deal maker on the planet, they got another thing coming.
But they struck us and we didn't strike back, and you're okay with that? He even said he authorized, he allowed it. He said that, and you're okay with that?
The president has done many bold things for this country to ensure Iran never has a nuclear weapon.
Okay, well, allowing another country to attack us, isn't that treason?
Allowing Iran to get a nuclear
Gentleman's
weapon.
time's
Obama was
expired.
willing
Chair
to
now
do,
recognizes the gentleman
that's what
from
you want.
Arizona, Mr.
Is
Ahmed.
that a treason? Well, the war in of itself is a treason because Donald Trump is not fighting this war for the American people. He's fighting it for Israel. Simple as that. So yes, it is a treason when you deploy your troops, your military assets to serve a foreign country who is not even under threat or any kind of attack, but you felt like defending them anyways, even though you're sending billions and billions of dollars to them, but you had the urgency to go to war with a country, risking your military and taking a lot of casualties just for that one country. So yeah, this is a treason. It sounds pretty treasonous to me, at least.